welcome back everyone to the Bitcoin Business Bureau. I'm your host as always, LitecoinLeader. Happy Monday. After a nice weekend off, come back to find out that Bitcoin decided to take a little bit of a dip. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're talking about a little bit about Evergrande as well. But, you know, it's always good to take a few days, rest, recharge, get ready for things. And, you know, I'm just getting back in the swing of things here on a Monday, driving around town once again. And I just wanted to share a few thoughts. First off, Bitcoin. You know, my shirt says it all. Let's see if we can get the shirt. Yep, buy the dip. There we go. But, and the point of that is really, the buy the dip saying is just a really simple answer to, did anything really change about Bitcoin over the weekend? Yes, Bitcoin went from the 50s to the 40s, and it dipped to like, I think it hit 42,000 and came back up. And what happens typically there is that's a shakeout. So what happens when sometimes a whale will do it, sometimes the exchange will do it, who knows who does it exactly, but what they do is when Bitcoin starts heading down, they will sell into the dip and drive the price down lower to wash out people with limit orders. So if you have, let's say you have, I don't know, let's say you have a whole Bitcoin on Coinbase and it's sitting there in the 50s, but you have a stop loss limit in there at like 45 and the price goes down to 47. Well, some people with visibility such things will push the price down a little bit further to wash out your Bitcoin and to buy it at 45 grand, and then it'll come back up. That's why you often see the price will go down and then shoot back up. You would think that there's orders there, it wouldn't go down as much, but that's what typically happens, that people get washed out almost on purpose so that people can snap up cheaper Bitcoin. It's just part of the game. So there's no great way to prevent that from happening if you're playing with stop losses. I don't play with stop losses at this point with Bitcoin because I know the fundamentals didn't change. That's really what I'm talking about today. The fundamentals of Bitcoin have not changed over this weekend. Bitcoin is still only 21 million. It's still the only asset class where they're not making more of it, and it's the only like, you can find more gold. Like there was a story a couple years ago, I think I talked about it on this channel at one point. In Africa, they found a mountain that was covered, a dirt covered mountain, but they dug into the mountain and it was all gold. And the first thing that the local government did was shut down access to it because they didn't want local people becoming wealthy overnight, because where would the workforce be? How would the government still be able to be in a position to exert control? So for those reasons alone, they shut it down and limited access. Now, if you think that can't happen in the United States, you're wrong, and it has happened. It's called the Grand Canyon. But we won't go into that right now. If you want to listen to Big Spear sometime, I'm sure he'll tell you all about it. But so the fundamentals of cryptocurrency have not changed overnight. Bitcoin is still the strongest apex asset. Just listen to Michael Saylor, listen to a lot of different Bitcoin maxis. They'll tell you, Anthony Papagliano, Max Kaiser, all their different methods of saying it. But it's absolutely true. Bitcoin is the apex form of money at this point because it's got every property of gold and meets it or better. So you've got divisibility. Gold you can slice down to tenths of ounces. Bitcoin is 8 decimal places. Fungibility, that means that, you know, every ounce of gold is the same, just like every dollar bill is the same. Every Bitcoin is the same, regardless of its history. That was a story once, like, oh well, if this was ever used for an illegal transaction, forget that. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. All 21 million are exactly the same. So you got divisibility and fungibility. Portability and scalability are two that I'll come back to. What are the other ones? You got portability, divisibility, fungibility, availability, or acceptance. Like everybody accepts gold, Bitcoin. Bitcoin is becoming more and more accepted as a form of currency, and people are getting into it with people, again, like Michael Saylor talking about how it's the apex currency. It's going to go right up there as far as exceeding gold. But the scalability and the portability are really, the scarcity and the portability are really where Bitcoin exceeds gold. The portability that used to, you had to sail gold across the oceans in boats, which led to the industry called piracy and theft and now security for gold, because it's so heavy and so hard to move from place to place. So that is where Bitcoin wins, because you can send electronically over to any country in the world in essentially minutes. It does take a little while longer to settle fully, but thanks to Lightning Network and other improved layer 2 capabilities of Bitcoin, it could be there almost in an instant for a fraction of a price. So that it beats it on portability and scarcity. Again, back to like you can find more gold, find more silver, find more oil, find more virtually any more natural resource. You can print more money, but 21 million is it for Bitcoin. So that's the limit. That's where we're at. So every fundamental property of money is there for Bitcoin, or better than gold, with the portability and the scarcity. And then you've got programmability. That's brand new property. You've got computer code being a store of value. So now you can have smart contracts or other mechanisms like NFTs where you've got intelligence behind the money. Like this money will not transfer from me to you until you've executed like what we agreed you would do to receive that Bitcoin. That's not a thing for gold or any other commodity in the space, but yet Bitcoin serves that purpose. So you've got that. So again, the fundamentals have not changed, the price has changed. So what that means is perception has changed. The market places just a perception barometer of what the value is at any given moment, and things are on sale right now. That's fine. That's why you sell, and it takes profits, not financial advice as usual. But when you take profits on something, when it spikes up, and keep that dry powder, keep that money aside for when things go on sale, like now, and you can jump in, buy some, and you know Bitcoin's going to run back up again because it always does. And I think it was Plan B who tweeted out this weekend. I did see his tweet, and he said that I think in the last run up there was 5, maybe 6 dips of 35% or more on the way up, because it just there's course corrections. Go up, pull back a little. Go up, pull back a little. It just happens. It's never a straight line up. It's always a sawtooth where it goes up and you know, just traces up and up and up, but has a little drops in between. Just how it works. So that's where we're at in the crypto space. I'm not worried about a pullback. I've been doing this for 5 years. I've seen all the pullbacks. I don't think we're going to see a 90% pullback or even an 80 or 70% pullback. I think that we might see these flash crashes, where we might see these paper hands shaking out. We've seen these stop losses shaking out. But for the most part, Bitcoin is Bitcoin, and all the other altcoins are doing strong too, most of them. And each will have their time over the next 3 to 6 months, and we're going into a mega bull market. I really believe that. So, or we're already there, and this is just one step along that path. So, lastly, before I get into it, and I haven't fully delved into the whole details of this, but I've heard Evergrande missed a payment. It was just a matter of time. They are a zombie company. They were just scraping enough money together to make their interest payments. We've all seen companies like that before. We've all been in a situation before where we're trying to, rub 2 nickels together and make ends meet. That's where Evergrande is, and they can barely afford their interest payment, and now they missed one. So Evergrande, I heard another company did it too. So what does this mean? That means the bond market and the stock market could start to have issues, and the bond market ties to mortgages, which ties to real estate. And I've been saying for a while, real estate's going to pull back. I am personally renting right now because, again, I moved to a new town, was learning it, liked the area, of course, but wasn't going to just come in here and buy something and be stuck with a house no matter what. Rather rent for a year, see how things play out. Plus, I thought that the real estate market might have a downturn, and that's where we're probably going to head, because what's happening with Evergrande, they missed a payment, and there's a lot of investors that have Evergrande bonds, corporate bonds, that are now going to be worth less and less. So people are going to dump this in the market, and then the rumor is that USD Tether is a big holder of Evergrande or similar type paper. So let's play this out, and I think I've done this in another video. I wish I could remember where I said everything in every video, but I just can't. But I'll repeat it this time. Evergrande, let's say Tether, I think they own like 50 to 75% of their money is in corporate bonds. Let's call it 2/3, just to make it simple. Last I checked, Tether was about 4% of the entire crypto market. So if Tether, worst case scenario, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but let's just say overnight, one night this week, or one night this month, Tether goes to a penny, and it just basically washes off the planet. What would that mean for the crypto market? Well, Tether's only 4% of the market, and if it goes to 0, guess what? It doesn't mean anything. The market will overreact. So 4% gets washed out of the market. We just had 4% washed out of the market this weekend. The world didn't end. But if Tether goes down, everybody's going to freak out because there's so many USDT Tether pairs on all these exchanges. So everybody's like, oh my God, I can't trade, I can't do this, can't do that. No, actually, you're now in crypto world fully, and you can't pull into a virtual cash reserve in the form of Tether. You can use USDC, you can use True USD, you can use other stable coins, all of which I've talked about in previous stablecoin conversations. That one I could probably find and link up here. So as I wrap up for today, I just wanted to say that, you know, like if Tether went to 0 tomorrow, it would be 4% of the market max. And we can stand, as we've seen, the world does not end with a 4% dip. So buy the dip, hang on for dear life. Don't be afraid of the fear of missing out. I think I've hit all the major acronyms now. FOAM, oh, I missed FUD. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That's actually a good one for today. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt with Tether, with Evergrande, with Bitcoin dipping. The fundamentals haven't changed. Bitcoin is still it's the apex asset. If you're gonna sell Bitcoin, you have to ask yourself, what are you gonna sell into and where are you gonna keep it for a while? Are you gonna keep it in the dollar for a couple weeks? Do you really feel good about that? I would question that. So, again, not financial advice, and just take a breather, just relax, buy when there's a sale, not financial advice, and as always, follow the leader. I'll see you next time.